you so much for joining us for your Smackdown post show for August 16th. We're so excited that you're joining us. We had more Bloodline in the main event action. So much to talk about today with a fantastic tag match. Carmelo and Andrade hooping again. I am so into that feud and where that's going, but get in your super chats and humper chats to talk all about SmackDown. We've got Sean here at the top of the show. We've got Cardoza, as always, with us. Sean's going to clarify some things that came up earlier this week. But before we talk about that, Cardoza, how you doing over there?
I'm excellent. It's another beautiful Friday here with you gorgeous people on Fightful. Of course, I'm speaking about Sean Ross Sapp.
Obviously.
Being the most gorgeous one in the room.
Oh, look at Sean.
But yeah, man, so happy to be here. Let's get this party rocking.
Absolutely. Well, the internet was ablaze wanting to know about Topgolf, Sean. That is the question that I got in my replies. I'm not kidding. 4 or 5 people asked and wanted to know, why are you so bad at Topgolf? And
I had never touched a real golf club in my life besides a putter before that show. What I would ask is to show the scores after round 2. When I had literally learned how to hold a golf club. Because here's the spoiler. Post round 2, your boy took control.
Okay.
Right there.
Amazing what Swag Golf covers will do for you. That's
did you Happy Gilmore it? Is that what you did? Happy Gilmore?
No, so I started off going full swing, and then I'm like, no, you got to work up to that. You got to just hold it back and then hit it a little bit. Plus, there's no actual skill required in Topgolf. I've learned that, which I love, because I mean that means I have a chance. But especially considering that Kimmy did anything resembling competent, shows that you don't need any actual skill. But
wow, aggressive.
Listen,
especially considering we know she was under the Sting mask in AEW, that you would come out here swinging like that. I'll say this: I'm very thankful when I was younger, I went to the driving range with my dad because I know how to swing a golf club. It's the opposite of a baseball swing. So it was never a natural thing to me.
Yes.
But, well, we may never know. We may never know the truth about what happened at Topgolf that day. But get in those super chats, get in those humper chats, leave a thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. I'm going to let Sean tease whatever he wants to about that. But we did first want to clarify something quickly about on Wednesday. You had gotten asked a question via Super Chat about speculation on Jamie Hayter's possible return. We'll see if she's able to come back. A lot of people speculating that she might come back into the Britt Baker Mercedes Moné feud, because that's kind of where we left off. You had mentioned that maybe that ship has sailed, and I know you just wanted to clarify a little bit around that.
Yeah, I did. Because, like, listen, I understand in the line of work that I'm in, our stuff is going to get clipped and stuff taken out of context. Sometimes people accuse us of that. So, I mean, listen, I understand that that will sometimes happen to us. But I even reached out to the person that posted the clip, and I was like, man, you didn't post the question that was posed to us. You didn't post any follow-up, anything like that. And all due respect to that person, I think that just saying, alludes to issues and all that stuff, that's editorializing. I didn't allude to issues. Over a year ago, I had heard they weren't doing that story. They said as much on, I don't know if it was a Wrestle Purist space or Ibu as well, but this isn't like a secret or anything. But I haven't heard of any like massive beef or anything like that. And as I noted later in that show, maybe things have changed since then. But, you know, people always just love to make it seem, especially in AEW, I've realized, they make it seem like, oh, the inmates are running the asylum and blah, blah, blah. And I get it. There are plenty of times when you can point the finger at that and all that. But that was like, people acted like I just barked it out. Like, oh, well, you know, there's another one for Britt. That is not what happened. Kate, you had heard this over a year ago as well.
I was going to say, I heard months, if not years ago at this point. And let me tell you, I ain't in scoops, and I certainly don't seek out this information. And I heard it from multiple people. This was not a well-kept secret. And I would say probably would have been more public earlier if there hadn't been so much else going on in this landscape over the past
not only
year.
that, Hater was gone for a year and a half.
Exactly.
So like, and I had heard about it maybe like a month before, like maybe a month before or so, but like to say that ship sailed interpersonally, it's because it's been a year and a half and I just haven't heard that that's the plan. I don't know what the plans are for Jamie Hayter right now, but the latest I had heard was, well, it's not to be involved with that. Now, that could change. Maybe this would facilitate a change, and anything like that can happen. But, like, listen, if you need clarification on something that I'm saying, and I feel comfortable giving you that, that's fine. You can reach out, and I'll try to provide you clarification. But that, like, I woke up the next morning and that had blown up, and I'm like, my God, like, what are we doing here? Like, people are acting like I said that Britt and Jamie were throwing down. That absolutely didn't. And I see people saying Reba's tweets, though. Reba's been in the business for a decade. She knows how to work. I'm not saying that she was working, but it wouldn't surprise me if that were the thing, because she's still under contract. And, like, she ain't been at TV either.
Yeah. Of course.
So, like, you're talking about two people who haven't been at TV for over a year. You're talking about another person, a third person, who only returned to TV for the first time in like 10 months fairly recently. I'm just saying, reach out for clarification. There's a lot of avenues for that. And that one I was like, okay. I was trying to be careful with how I worded it anyway, because I thought that people might act a little bit weird about it. But I can't just bark out every single thing that I've heard regarding stuff like that. But this was not like a new thing. This was an old thing, and I hadn't been told that it had changed or anything. There was one person near it that was like, yeah, I don't think it's that big of an issue anymore, but maybe we'll see.
Cool. Yeah, and it would make sense that it came back up when potentially one of those talent might be returning. That would be awesome if she's able to make it back. So naturally kind of begs the question where she would return, but it would seem like sometimes people in wrestling have issues with each other backstage. Who knew? Ever. If you lived through the Attitude Era, but I've told plenty I won't survive it. Nonsense McGee says, drunk, watch the end of Smackdown, Roman rocks. SRS, in all seriousness, I appreciate your dedication to this gig and serving as an example of how to grind and build a team the right way. Y'all are awesome. Keep up the fine work. Well, thank you so much.
Had a guy last night that said, you're not a real journalist because you're not live tweeting TNA. And I was like, brother, I delegated that one a while back. I did that for a decade.
Sean, he was back in my replies today and asked me if we're called Fightful, why we don't cover MMA.
Oh, I saw that.
I screenshotted,
Jesus
screenshotted
Christ.
our menu from the site, and it just says wrestling MMA and sent it back. It was absolutely incredible, guys. Get in those super chats and humper chats for the brief moment Sean's here. We're gonna let him go earlier tonight than maybe he normally sticks around. But since we got you here, Sean, is there anything you want to talk about select wise? We got to take a nice victory lap earlier in the week. Some fantastic gifs and memes. Nobody knows how deep the folder goes. That's until the home run tour comes up.
So I don't do that much anymore, but special occasions I'm going to break out the Receipts World Tour. But there was somebody that was like, oh man, Sean's such a tough talker. And I'm like, I'm posting reactions and GIFs and memes. Like, what are we doing? This isn't tough talking. It's me dunking on some really bad people. But Randy Orton, we broke news of his contract this week. We got that confirmation directly from him. 5-year contract for Randy Orton. Over the next week, we are admittedly going to be AEW heavy. We still got a bunch of SmackDown, Raw scoops, all that stuff. But heading into All In, naturally, we're going to have a lot of AEW news. Adam Cole was backstage at this week's AEW Dynamite. I'm told he's likely getting back in the ring to train next week. We're going to have some more AEW injury updates and the like this upcoming week. But just an awful lot going on there. There was one thing, and I still see it popping up. People are like, oh, any update on Becky Lynch? Yeah, I confirmed directly. She has not retired, or at least that was not intended to be a retirement post on Instagram. I saw some people still talking about that recently, like, oh, well, they can't bring her in because she's retired. Nope, she's still not technically retired, anything like that. We did have a lot of extra details on AEW All in Texas. Janai Kai has signed officially with MLW. That is a really good signing for them.
She's awesome.
She is awesome. She's very good. She was actually backstage at AEW recently. We had news on Michael Oku and Amira possibly heading to AEW. Ink not dry on that. We're not told that that's necessarily set. Lucha Brothers, the damage control surrounding that. And now it's becoming clear, like, one of the reasons Penta probably got online and said, no, I'm in AEW, is because his brother is still under contract and doesn't want to make that messy. I had a lot of people not asking for additional news, but they're like, oh, what are your thoughts on this? And I'm like, okay, I don't like somebody being forced to be somewhere they don't want to be, especially if they've fulfilled that contract time. If I were AEW, I would say, hey, Penta, here's the deal. You come back, you put a couple people over. We won't extend this time on your brother. That way, you do business the right way on the way out. I think that's a way that benefits everybody. And Tony did say, that we believe that WWE is contract tampering. Now, I don't have particularly strong feelings one way or another, but I really didn't think that I would have another like active, possibly contract tampering story to report on for quite some time, because I didn't think that a talent or a company would be as brazen about it. WWE is not being as brazen about it, but Penta, to people that he was talking to, definitely was. And, I think WWE would be a good place for him. I think WWE would be a really good place. I've made my thoughts felt on the What's Up You Guys podcast about the AEW merch situation. WWE and Fanatics will be mass producing those masks so quick, and they will make their money back on them. But we're going to have a lot more news this weekend, injury news, injury updates. But yeah, Randy Orton re-signing, Adam Cole coming back, AEW All in Texas. It's been a good week.
Absolutely. And before you get out of here, we're going to give you an opportunity to do something that I'm sure that you're going to want to do, because Cadillac Carson saying, Sean, I just want to say that after she interrupted Pretty Deadly's number, I get your beef with me, Chin, deplorable human being, and Bad Robot kind of saying the same thing here. Hello, favorite show. Glad to see Mia Yim on TV, but interrupting Pretty Deadly, sadness. So we know what the CEO dance is. What do you think the OTC dance would be? We'll answer that, but if you wanted to shoot on Mia Yim before you get out of here, I wouldn't blame you.
The OTC dance would probably be a moving version of that meme when somebody was throwing something at Roman and he did the thing from years ago. It'd probably be something like that. But as far as Mia Yim goes, listen, I rib her plenty, but I'm glad she's getting the opportunities that she has worked very, very hard to get. Also, that woman is jacked now.
She looks great. She's
in incredible shape. She's been doing great work. I will criticize this from the WWE perspective. They've had her lose to Nia twice in back-to-back months. I'm glad they gave her a win over Tiffany, but I'm like, give her some more wins if you're going to give her this title shot. But sincerely, I am happy that Mia Yim is in this spot because she has earned it. She's worked very hard. She was persistent, outside of WWE as well. And it's something that she definitely has put in the work for. So deserved. And Nia as well. Nia looks as good as she's looked in her WWE run. Like what? And we left the SummerSlam presser. And my wife was like, man, Nia is so personable. Yeah, she's a very likable person, a very charismatic person when given that opportunity. So, I really like what they're doing there.
Man, I ruined Sean's bit last week. I tried to set him up to shoot on Mia Yim, and he just comes in and says a bunch of nice things about her. She's fantastic. I'm also very glad to see that she's getting more screen time, more meaningful matches as well. But, Sean, anything else before you get out of here?
That's all I got. Subscribe to Fightful Select. A lot of good stuff coming.
All right. Well, This is the 3-year anniversary of my time at Fightful this week. This is the 3-year of Smackdown post shows that I got hired for. So thank you for hiring me to do this. Thank you for quitting on Friday night so I get to host the shift now. But very excited to be here. Very excited to continue into year 4. Thank you, Sean, for all your hard work. We appreciate you around here. And we're going to get into the Smackdown review. We'll say goodbye, Sean. And we will dive into Smackdown right here. We've got a lot to talk about. Pretty clean episode this week, I would say. Next week, we got the go home to Bash in Berlin. This one had some meat on the bone. Love that we're getting longer times for these tag matches. But what did you think kind of overall, Alex?
Not bad. I mean, kind of a lot of the repetitiveness of what's been happening for the last almost 3 weeks with SmackDown. A lot of the same faces. But I get it. They have to build these stories and, they got to make their way through Bash to Berlin at Berlin. So it is what it is. Not to say that the episode was bad. It was just, when you kind of see almost the same thing for a couple weeks in a row, it's just like, okay, cool. I like it. Yay.
It is a little bit formulaic in that the structures, I feel like, have been the same.
Exactly. Wow, you took the word. This is why you're a PhD in wrestling, and I'm just
thank you so much.
An associate's degree and sitting here.
Well, we actually did get this super chat saying, have any of you have any aims in the film biz come October? I might have some cool opportunities. Y'all are salt of the earth people. So it would be cool to work with y'all. This guy is the guy for that, actually.
This sexy collarbone of a man.
Very, very much interconnected in the film world.
Yeah, just hit me up on the Twitch. Listen to me on Instagram. Sorry, I don't know why I said Twitch, but Instagram. I was supposed to say Twitter, but I'm just trying to stay away from Twitter as much as possible. But Instagram and on Threads is the place to be. You could slide in my open DMs.
There you go. There you go. I will say I don't really have any film aspirations. I can't speak for Sean entirely, but I can tell you he has one giant notes app that he keeps all of his ideas in. Some of them may or may not be while he's under
the influence.
Certain influences of cannabis specifically.
It's 2024.
I know, but the internet's weird. I don't want people being weird about it, but
no, they're not weird. The internet's the place where people do it the most.
It's greater than SRS. Also, RIP Alpha. Yes, we will talk about the video package that they put together. Beautifully done. It's so strangely poetic how that happens sometimes, right? Like these two passing back to back after we've gotten to see like this culmination of their legacy play out on screen. It's obviously incredibly sad, but kind of beautiful in a way that they got to witness playing out in one of the most successful wrestling booms that we've ever had. Their legacy just right on screen for all of us to see. It's pretty special. Pretty special. Ricardo saying, hi, Kate and Cardoza. Chat, see you later tonight.
What it do?
Thank you for chiming in while you're at work. Tag match had one of the best matches this year. We're going to talk about that for sure. 3 segments they gave that. But let's dive in. Crazy 101 saying Tony and Saraya is set for next week. That should be fun because there's some former Outcasts drama there. But let's finally dive into this. We do have the Sika tribute, the Alpha tribute that we got here, which was really, really beautifully done. Just kind of continuing the lineage. And they always knock these things out of the park. These tribute packages are incredible. It takes a lot of people back to specific moments in time. It had a lot of wrestlers talking about not only the on-screen legacies, but I loved what Batista was saying and stuff too. Like, how much the training school helped and how much just like the Wild Samoan legacy and just their legacy to wrestling in general has meant. We get to see it from so much of a referential standpoint in today's current wrestling, and We get to hear all about the Samoan dynasty, but to hear the off-screen human amount of value that they added to the wrestling industry, I thought was beautiful stuff that we got today. What did you think of the video packages? I feel like they always do such a great job with these.
I'll be completely honest. It's I love it. Don't get me wrong. I think those packages always pull on the heartstrings.
Yes, definitely.
But the only thing that I kind of got to say gets me is the fact that it's just time sucks.
Yeah.
It's our biggest enemy. It's the biggest heel, and above all else, it proves that I am getting old, and I don't like seeing. I'm sexy as it is. Like, I don't think I'm aging, but to see what was for me growing up, our fandom withering away a little bit by little bit. Now, mind you, he was 81 years old. Beautiful life. But just I watched these guys. I watched them on Saturday nights, and I watched them on the beginning of the Monday Night Raw. Like, it's crazy. It's just crazy. It sucks.
It's wild too, because there's that layer of it, right? We're losing these legends, and then the next wave of it of John Cena's retiring, and Stone Cold says it's a young man's game, and all these things of like, we've seen such great uses of legends lately in wrestling. I think better than maybe ever. But it is wild to see how much of that is weaving in and out, and especially so. I got into this in the era that everyone thinks sucked, right? I started watching in 2009, so I don't have the same attachment, but it is wild to see how many people watched, exited, and then came back to wrestling. Like, I hear so much of that. And so they're having these feelings and attachments to wrestling in such a different way. A different way. Tim McFowle sending in a super chat. Thank you so much. Saying, just joining, overly influenced by Kate today with her post on Twitter. Yeah, I guess I gotta post some more beach pictures. My goodness. But Alex is going to have to show a lot of clavicle to catch up. As for SmackDown, I thought the pacing really ruined a good to great show. Some weird pacing things, but some good pacing things. And I'll discuss, and Alex will discuss what I think was good and bad about today's show.
Sure.
But this makes me happier than anything in the whole wide world. Eddie Kingston was announced to provide an update on All In for tomorrow's Collision. Eddie is gonna be set for tomorrow's Collision. I'm so happy. I'm gonna cry. I'm so excited.
I know, it's crazy.
I said the past few kind of like 6 to 8 weeks, I feel like both products, the WWE product and the AEW product right now, are all both in very good places. But AEW is missing that tackler on the mic, and that is Eddie Kingston. Your Will Ospreys are really great promos and phenomenal in ring, and your MJFs are going to do what your MJFs does. Nobody does what Eddie does. The closest person is probably Mox, and Mox has been out too. It's tough. It's tough when those guys are out, because guys like Eddie Kingston can make anything adjacent to a title or with a title feel like it's life or death, and they can do it like that. And I feel like Kevin Owens is a WWE equivalent of just like, it's logical, and I want to see you fight immediately. Sure. We're gonna talk about that too.
Well, he talks real. Like, it's, I grew up in that era, 90s Jersey, New York City era. Like, when he talks to you like he's gonna step up to you and kick you in the nuts with his Timbers. I got a little too excited. I see. There you go.
You're talking the Eddie Kingston talk, though. I
got into it too much. I apologize, people. I almost slipped there. But yeah.
It's all good. We haven't had a sponsor.
Just the tip of the word.
Jasmine Hawkins saying happy Fightful anniversary, Kate. Alexis,
oh my God, Jasmine.
Cowboys still suck. Thank you so much. Like a true white girl, I've been celebrating it all week, but I am so thankful to be here for 3 years, and this was the first show I got hired for. I got hired just to co-host the SmackDown show, and now I get to do this most every night with you wonderful people. So I so appreciate not only getting to do this every Friday, but all the shows I get to do at Fightful and doing it in an environment where I can genuinely say, I love my co-hosts. I love our editorial team. Anytime I go to Sean and Jimmy Van for something, they're always there to listen. Sean's like the busiest dude on the planet. If I'm like, hey, I need something, he's there. Like, I feel very, very blessed to be not only able to do this on the platform that I do it at, and not only in an environment that's inclusive and safe for everybody, but to be constantly valued and listened to is truly a gift. Because I love wrestling. I don't need to talk about it so bad that I work with a bunch of idiots. So
I'm thankful to you. You brought me in here to be your co-host, and I can't complain. I'm 2.5, almost 3 years myself. I listen. There's nothing wrong with a little collab on Friday nights. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we've had a long week. Chat, am I right? Come on now.
It's true. We got
Danny,
more
I
super
see you.
chats. Thank you for all the support. But let's get into this episode because we haven't even really touched the tip of the iceberg here. Let's talk Nia's celebration that Tiffany so beautifully laid out with pink and white balloon pillars with unicorns on top of them. And Nia comes out. We've talked about this before. Her in kind of more traditional clothes. This looked like it was almost a hybrid of streetwear and gear. It was an interesting look, but when she came out in that chair, I was like, man, she looks so extra beautiful when she's allowed to kind of just dress. When you're not in a wrestling match, you don't need to be wearing wrestling gear. When she wears kind of more regular clothes, she looks stunning. She looks absolutely stunning. But Nia kind of comes out and says, hey, thanks for the celebration, but this isn't really my style. Destruction is more my style than pink and pretty glitter and unicorns and stuff. But Tiffany has done so much for her. She says that she's been so good to her. And they continue with the celebration. And eventually, we get Nia asking Tiffany to bow down to the Queen of the Ring. Pretty Deadly is also there dressed like they're in a boy band, but for their musical segment. And Tiffany doesn't say no, but she does say, I thought Pretty Deadly could sing you this song they prepared, and we would all bow down together because boys should bow down too, which that I very much agree with. Boys should always be bowing down to girls.
I'll bow down to Nia.
But they start singing this beautiful song, and then Mia Yim has the nerve to come interrupt them.
How dare she?
With a kendo stick. She looks fantastic too. Sean alluded to it earlier. Her conditioning is incredible. The past couple sets of gear that she's had on NXT and here on SmackDown have been excellent too. Like, I'm loving this presentation of Mia Yim. Mm-hmm. I do agree with what Sean said earlier that she lost twice to Nia, the first time very handily. So they need to do a little bit more creative work to get her back to feeling like a proper contender for Nia, I think. But she's been so underrated for so long. I'm so excited to see her getting to shine, not only with more TV time, but in title matches and more important spots. Excellent stuff. What did you think of our opening proper segment here?
I love the fact that she immediately turned into like that heel Nia. Listen, you're my pet. That's what you are. You're not my friend. You're my pet. I'm gonna keep you around until it's ready to kick you out and like give you away to another family. Okay, that's what I feel like she's keeping Tiffy around for. I love the fact that she immediately like had no words. Tiffy didn't. Like, God, you want me? You want me to bow down? Oh, by the way, let me tell you something. Pretty Deadly's here to sing a song for you. I love me some Pretty Deadly. But gosh,
I know you do. I do. I
mean,
the mics, the boy band mics.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna find a picture and I'm gonna post it. I used to be in a boy band. I also used to do covers and all kinds of stuff. So I'll show you guys the picture. I used to wear the jersey with the backwards hat and the one glove. I did all that stuff. So I really enjoyed the fact that they went out there and tried, and they were a hit to me. I don't know what anyone else is thinking.
I'm getting in line at TKTS to go to Pretty Deadly the musical, okay? Like, I am so in on seeing this musical. Later, we do get a segment 2 backstage with Mia Yim and Chelsea and Piper, who is standing outside of Nick Aldis's office. They jaw jockey a little bit, And Chelsea said, we were gonna do that too. We were gonna interrupt Nia too. We had the same thought. We were gonna run in too. Mia Yim says, well, thank goodness it was me because I got a title shot out of it. And then just as they tried to barge into Nick Aldis as usual, Nia is there to attack Mia Yim. Good stuff. Good continuation. Good talent rotation. If you're not gonna do multiple matches for the women, at least you're still getting a lot of faces on television here. Like you got Nia, you got Tiffany, you got Chelsea, you've got Piper at least sniffing around the picture. You got Mia Yim here. So if you're only doing one match, at least we are still getting a lot of talent on television. Any thoughts on the kind of addendum segment that we got here, Alex?
First of all, we want to maybe say thank you to Gregory Alvarado, who just gifted a ton of memberships to people here on the chat.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Just wanted to keep an eye on that. That was pretty cool.
10 Fightful Wrestling memberships.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We appreciate
Thank you,
that
Gregory.
so much.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so the backstage segment, Nicholas. That was my favorite thing. Nicholas. Chelsea has become one of my favorite people to kind of you never know what she's gonna do or say. She's always dressed to the nines. She's kind of like always being sly and slithering
she's
and trying
always
to
up to something. Chelsea Green is always up to something.
Yes, always. And you just want to find out what it is that she's doing. I like it. I'm here for it. I hope that for her, she continues to move upward and they give her, I like this stuff, but I want to see a couple more serious things happening. But other than that, yeah, I think the backstage thing was fine. I love, she stands out the most out of the whole thing.
Anytime she's on screen is maximizing her minutes. We say that over and over again, but just to the umpteenth degree. It's really, really incredible. Gregory, you were so generous. If there's anything that you want to send in a chat about, feel free to do so. We'd be happy to read one for you when you
and I will send you 10 clavicle pictures just for that.
Gosh.
What?
My goodness. Ian R saying happy Kate-iversary yet again this week. Thank you so much. The most fantastic member of Fightful helps when some of your co-hosts don't have any hair at all, and 2.0, you're a badass as well. We thank you so much. We are so happy to
appreciate
have
all of you, man.
Alex on board.
I need to first of all, I wish I could find out the exact date that I started with you. I can't. I try to go back into the archives. I wish our Friday night show had a playlist because I can go back all the way. Maybe that's something I can do.
Is you did your first. I have the same thing. My first appearance on Fightful was not the day I got hired. So
correct.
I think I even have your first appearance, but I don't have the day that you started at Fightful because those are two different dates.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't even know if we have an official date for you because Sean kind of just Irish goodbyed the show.
Yeah, he did. He showed up one day while I was with you and said, Alex, it's a pleasure meeting you. And he left.
Yeah. It was basically he kind of just fizzled out, which I take as a sign of trust. So I'll take it for sure. But Minorva said, "Sub bangs and collarbones, gang, let's crank." I'm Sands of Blinding tonight. If beef ever comes out with two drugged up bears,
what the?
I'll actually go vegan. Okay, so there's a wrestler who's been on ROH who's the second cousin of Anthony Henry, and his name is Beef. That's his name, and he's awesome. And he has so much personality. And he's so much fun. But his name is Beef. I love him, but my co-host on Thursday nights, SP3, loves him. And I thought, who would he be loved more by than our very faithful Meat Normus? I love
the meat.
I love this. There's so much. Everybody's touching tips whenever MXM is on. And even when MXM is not on, so now that they're on Rampage, we've got people touching tips in the chat. I love you.
You get me all the time with that. I don't. I gotta pay more attention.
Alex,
I'll touch your tip. Hell yeah.
On ROH, Griff Garrison smooshed it.
I kind of sounded a little stupid right there, but yeah.
It's all right.
I didn't know that was an actual thing, so I apologize to everyone. This is 2 weeks in a row that you've told me about touching tips, and I was like, oh.
MXM, baby. Gotta touch tips.
Just another Friday night.
I'll tell you what.
Oh boy.
If you're trying to touch tips, And yours isn't really in tip-touching condition. If you're like MXM and you're trying to enter the frame, but you're not exactly popping on screen, BlueChew.com.
Blue Chew, main event performance, main event confidence, and a main event deal. Go to BlueChew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL, and you will get Blue Chew with their first shipment for free. Shipment? Yeah, I said shipment. No waiting in line at the pharmacy, no awkward doctor's visits. You take their online exam, and then if approved, it's shipped straight to your door. That's right. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and much more affordable. How can you pass up on this? How can you pass up on that confidence? How can you pass up on that performance? How can you pass up on making your sex life better? That's what Blue Chew is here to do. You don't have to have a problem to use Blue Chew. Just get that additional performance. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
I'm so embarrassed I snorted on air.
It's not your fault. I'm so funny.
When you
Smart
can't
and pretty all the time.
If you are having problem touching tips, well then.
Look, I'm not great at everything in this world, but Blue Chew segues, I got them.
Oh, man.
Let's get back to this episode of Smackdown, guys. Get in those super chats and humper chats at humperchats.com. Leave a thumbs up on this video as we make our way through Smackdown. Also, just a quick heads up. A lot of you are familiar with Robert Z. Felice. It's his birthday today at Dude Felice on social media. Go wish
Love
Robert
that, man.
a happy birthday. He is
Happy birthday, Rob.
the very, very best of us. So let's rock and roll through more of this. We get Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade, and buddy, I could watch them wrestle for the rest of my life. Jay Stone saying, I hope at some point Hunter books Melo like he was the third pick of the draft. Andrade and Melo carrying the show at this point. Now, I gotta say, I'm so excited to talk about this match. Because I felt like in the first one, Melo really got to show out. And in the second one, Andrade got to show out a little bit more. And tonight, it felt like even Stevens. Like, they both got to show out. And shout out to Wade Barrett on commentary for putting over what I felt like was very well articulated him in the story here of Carmelo may have lost the first two times, but he's never going to lose the same way twice. He's a young, growing superstar who's not going to make that same mistake again. We see him win by catching the Hurricane Rana this time, rolling those legs back for the 3 count. Really, really good stuff. That standing moonsault from Andrade, like, absolutely blows my mind every single time. Or not the standing one, but, like, him landing on his feet when he goes to do a moonsault is absolutely insane to me. These two just have incredible chemistry. I'm glad somebody realized that. I'm glad they capitalized on that with the story. And my only complaint about those first 2 matches was, why did Andrade win both of them, right? I felt like we're setting up Carmelo as a likely contender for the US title. Carmelo gets a win here. Hopefully, he continues to get some wins while LA Knight is preoccupied with Santos Escobar for this first title defense. Make Carmelo look strong going into what feels like it's probably going to be a series of matches, if not at least one match with LA Knight eventually. But let's get him winning. Let's get him looking strong. But man, Andrade and Carmelo Hayes just showing out every time we've gotten to see them. Absolutely loved what we got from them tonight. What did you think, my dear co-host?
We are having a buffet full of deliciousness when it comes to these two. They obviously understand that they've caught lightning in a bottle when it comes to Andrade and Carmelo fighting it out in the ring. Let me tell you something. I don't see anything wrong with them running it back to back because they're giving us different style matches. You're not seeing the same spots.
You're definitely getting a lot of variety.
You're getting
how many times these two guys have faced each other in a short amount of time. 100%.
You're getting they injected a little bit of fuel into their rivalry at the end of the match with Carmelo kind of stepping up and being like, bro, continue acknowledging, like, I'm good at this, like, obviously I would be full of piss and vinegar too if you beat me and like you're pissed and now I beat you. I want you to, like, you kind of see that a lot in like weigh-ins and UFC fights sometimes where like one will start going after the other, or even after a match to kind of like brag. This is what they were doing, and it felt nice. It felt great. Maybe I would lessen the amount of times that they get in the ring together to like maybe every other week or maybe even
Spread them
every
out a little
month.
bit.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
spread them out so that it continues to feel special. But yeah, I'm all about it.
I am wondering if part of the pacing of this feud was because there wasn't supposed to be one, but that first match was grabbed so many people's attention. They were like, well, hold on. Let's lean into that because both of those guys had been lost in the shuffle booking wise. Sometimes this helps. And I will say, like, to me, a good match, the win means something, right?
Yeah.
A great match, the win means something and the loss means something to both characters for them to go back to their respective feuds with or their respective character arcs with. Now it feels like we're getting into great matches because the in-ring was always fantastic, but the story is now elevated for both of them with the series of matches that we've had where in the beginning it felt lopsided to me. It felt like this was only doing something for Andrade. So
Yes.
Big W here from Carmelo Hayes. We did see him in a backstage a little bit earlier here with Naomi, Jade, and Bianca, who say they're very mindful, very demure. I don't know what this little TikTok trend is, but all the ladies are saying very mindful, very demure, and I kind of love it. And Carmelo Hayes invites them to the after party after this match, which when that happened, I said, well, he better win, because an after party for a match that you lose sounds terrible. It's like if everybody's waiting for you at home and you failed your driver's test, and then you walk in and they got balloons and all sorts of stuff. But some more love in super chat form from you guys. Jay Miller saying, happy 3 years, Kate. Wish some of these title matches could make Bash in Berlin. Man, I long for the days when the mid card can feel important. Now, I will say this. I think if you consider that the new era under Triple H has only been from April till now, there's been a tremendous amount of improvement in the product. To me, it felt like priority number one, clean up the way we're going about some things. Not as many rematches as we were getting in the Vince era. Lean into the baby faces that are organically over. I'm hoping what we're getting with Braun Breaker and what we're getting with LA Knight finally having titles is now that mid-card's going to start to rise up and feel important again. And then I hope the other piece that comes into the fold is that they give a shit about the tag titles at some point. Those are my hopes, is that maybe there are some phases that are being rebuilt here. Because they obviously have said, Braun Breaker, the future is yours if you want it. We're seeing Ilya Dragunov get mixed up over there with Sheamus, right? Like we're seeing a lot more contenders in that mid-card than we ever have before. The thing is, when they do these international pay-per-views, they're 5 matches. So it is kind of tough, but I would say Survivor Series, you'll probably see some serious movement. But keep in mind, in that mid-card picture, we have 2 very new champions at LA Knight and Braun Breaker. Let's give them a substantive reign and hope we go places with it.
Agreed.
Ian R says, Kate, the queen of bangs and boner segues. What a gift.
Wow.
What I don't mean to pat myself on the back or whatever, but like,
did you ever think, after years of studying and education and everything that you've put in, all the hard work,
when I was a young girl,
that you would be the queen of
bangs and boner segues?
Bangs and boners, like B&Bs. I mean, that's great.
I'm sure when my parents were raising me, they were like, my dad was like, I'm going to put in decades of work at IBM so that my daughter can be the queen of bangs and boner segues.
We love you, Mr. Kate.
My dad rules. Michael David saying, here's my penance for being late because my caregiver is an a-hole. Well, I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
And we will let it go this time. No, just kidding.
I will let it slide. By the way, shout out to Dawn in the chat, my co-host and my friend and my producer and many other ventures who found the date, May 27th, 2022.
May 27th, 2022. Now you got to put it in your phone so that we can
celebrate.
I did.
I just put it on my telefono
and you can celebrate with an unintentional thirst trap as well.
You did
That's what's up. I was not intended to be, but Lord Almighty.
Just wait, my clavicles are getting really buff. I started like lifting weights again. Like,
there you go.
I look at myself, I'm like, damn.
It's about drive, it's about power. Okay, that's what I was told.
Yeah.
We get Naomi versus Blair Davenport, which is set up a little bit earlier in that very demure, very mindful segment that we had. But man, this is not working for Blair Davenport. She is a very skilled wrestler, and her presentation in NXT was connecting. The stall out and pushing her is biting them in the butt right now, I would say. Like, just no crowd reaction for them. This was also just a little bit off of a match. Just felt like one of those chemistry things. Like, nothing that Naomi did wrong or that Blair Davenport did wrong necessarily. Sometimes chemistry just isn't there. That happens with the best wrestlers in the world all the time. I remember that. The example I always use is Rhea Ripley and Asuka. It took them 3 times to get that match to work. And they're 2 of the very best in the world, and they even have similar enough ring styles that you would think immediately, home run. Wasn't the case. And the 3rd time, it was awesome. This just didn't really click for me. I will say jumping guillotines are always super fun. I think maybe they just speak such different languages in wrestling terms that maybe it didn't really fit. But nothing wrong here necessarily. It just didn't feel like it ever got into the gear it needed to for me. Any thoughts on this? And my goodness, it feels like they've got to find something for Blair Davenport because she's ice cold and she's too talented to be this ill-received by the audience.
Yeah, it was more or less like cool. Hometown girl is here. Naomi, we're gonna give it up. Everyone's behind her. I feel sorry for Davenport. She comes out. It's just like everyone's sitting on their hands, kind of, and it sucks. Like she's such a talented women's wrestler. I honestly thought that we would see a lot more coming out of her. I don't know. Maybe they just don't. It's hard. Like they have a lot of time being put into so many other people.
Yeah.
That all I can think of right now is just like she's waiting in the wings, and they're gonna put her on TV here and there just to remind us that she's still there, and you know how WWE is. Eventually, a story will pop up.
Yeah, it does feel like Naomi's return was huge, and then they had that cool 6-woman program at Mania, but she was never the focal point of it, right? It was
Correct,
gonna be this
right.
tag team.
Yes.
She's eaten a lot of L's. She eats another one here. I would like for her to have some meaningful wins in the very near future.
And by the way,
Sean had
even
said last week that the fact there's so many women's trios isn't an accident, so we'll see where things are going.
Even now, like you still see her kind of just being injected a little bit into everything that Bianca and Jade are doing. Like,
Yeah,
it hasn't been a lot of separation, which kind of sucks because Naomi could stand alone on her own. Like we saw that in TNA, and we've seen that in the past.
And she's
her run,
super over, like her theme, her presentation. So
yeah.
So we'll see. This is actually very funny. Van Twinblade saying, "Why ain't Alexis's name in chat blue or green? Fix it." Are you not a moderator?
I'm not, because I was told. Actually, I wasn't told anything. I was trying to make something up, but no.
I know a girl. I'll make sure that you are.
I hope this girl is really good at bangs and. No, I'm just kidding.
She happens to be, and she happens to
Friday nights. This is literally, I do a ton of shows, by the way, and I have the most fun here with you on Friday nights. I used to have a lot of fun with Dawn in the chat as well when we used to do our Power Rangers show, Into the Morphing Grid Friday nights as well. But I'm having a ton of fun here, and this is just great.
I am very glad, and I love doing this show with you every Friday night. We have the most fun, and
Mostest.
Sorry, this is give Alexis powers. I'll do it. I have the login for Fightful. We will make that happen, I promise. But stop using caps in the chat, Luis, or our mods will ban you. How about that? You're gonna get timeouted. I can't do that. I can't time out you. That would be very bad for me. But we get this segment with Grayson Waller and Kevin Owens, who is my favorite person in the whole wide world ever. Grayson Waller's talking a bunch of S to Austin Theory, talking about how KO hasn't done anything but lose to the Bloodline for the past 4 years. And Kevin Owens says, "Checkmate, my friend. I know. I have not earned this title match. I said that last week. I have not exactly been doing great. I didn't even want this title match. So I do. I suck, right? Let's go out there and prove it. Prove how much I suck at this." And Grayson Waller had said that he wanted the old Kevin Owens, but I just love how KO is always in the same boat as whatever the truth is in his booking reflection. And I loved that he was like, yeah, you know what? I agree with you, actually. So good luck talking a bunch of shit about a guy that agrees with you. So good. And then the match was super fun. I loved the finish because my complaint with the rolling flatliner is that Grayson Waller has to leave the ring to come back into the ring to do it. That is not a good finishing move.
You've been saying this for the last forever.
Here's the thing. Alex Pulaski opened my eyes to it way back when he was in NXT, and it's one of those things I can't unsee. It's like when people go to the top rope in a battle royal. It was a gifted pet peeve to me from Matt from the Shiny Wizards podcast. He pointed it out once, and now I can never see that spot and be like, why would you go to the top rope in a battle royal? That makes no sense. Why would you have a finisher where you have to leave the ring to come back in? That also makes no sense, because someone like Kevin Owens is going to have it scouted, and you're going to run into a stunner when you try to do it. We got to pop a power bomb for the 3 count at a little post-match action here. Kevin Owens getting the win makes sense here. Austin Theory not really doing a lot to help his tag team partner. I'm assuming we're getting more dissension, but God, I loved the little promo into this. This was so much fun. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I truly enjoy, like the fact that KO and everyone is just like, beating the crap out of A-Town Down Under. Like I need these guys to separate.
Yeah,
I've been saying this to you for a long time, and you kind of were like, you were iffy about it in the beginning because they kind of did make such a great team together up front. But gosh, in the last couple months, Kate, I've been a big supporter of just getting these two separated. Maybe seeing you always said that Waller might be the biggest star to the both of them.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see that. I do agree because the charisma's there by a ton. And unfortunately, Theory kind of suffers from the I'm a body guy and I'm just gonna come out here and wrestle type of deal, and that's about it.
And he's great in the ring.
Yes.
They've never gotten a presentation that works for him right, like since he was in the way.
Yeah.
Like the faction the way, not that he's been in the way.
Yeah.
In the way. Proper,
yeah. So I mean that's all that's honestly that's what I feel like right now. Like we just need to kind of like move on, and see obviously, with Kevin Owens, he's stuck in this Cody Rhodes loop of people that challenge Cody Rhodes, but they're not gonna win the title loop.
Yeah.
And it just it just sucks my soul. I don't want it to happen.
Pieces with the most important chat in the whole wide world saying, hi everyone, coming in late because I went to Nigel's magic show, but hope everyone is having a good night. Let us know, were you as surprised as I was about how emotionally moving and how many heartstrings it pulled at? Because I was pleasantly caught off guard by how authentic and sincere that was. I am obsessed with how many people are touching tips in the chat tonight. It is
Jesus Christ.
Fucking funny to me. I love it so much.
Someone touch tips with me, please.
I just did before.
Someone's gonna clip that, aren't they?
I just did.
Yay.
Touching tips over here. Hey, you know what? You know who's got some tips for creative? Alex Pulaski, who's going to come on here with the sour four. It's not just boner segues I have, you guys, okay?
Alex.
I am a legend. Not as much as Alex's dog.
Alex, touch my tip.
you gotta. There you go.
Hold on. Oh, here we go. Oh, God, look at this interconnection of tips just touching everywhere.
There
God.
it is.
I am the connector between all of us.
But we need to come into frame like MXM of just like a weird
Yeah. There you go.
What up, Alex? How you doing?
Good. Good. Top Flight somehow time traveled to NXT 2.0. I don't understand it. I don't know how or don't know why.
Top
But
of
they
Valley
did?
says it's the weekly post Rampage SRS raid. It is like a Twitch raid where
Yep.
our numbers
Yep.
go up once you finish on select. But.
Yes. Yeah. We decided that we need to formally make Roosh and Beast Mordos into a tag team,
Okay.
and the tag team name will be the Hearns Business. Yeah?
I'm in. I'm 100% in.
Good.
No
Yeah.
notes.
I hope those shirts come out next week.
That's phenomenal. HERRRNSSS. Yep. I'm in.
Hey, Kate, do you think that creative doesn't think we'll notice, or that they haven't noticed themselves that they are running nearly identical programs, one for the men and one for the women on SmackDown, with Blair Davenport and Naomi and Carmelo and Andrade?
Yeah.
Like, I can't quite beat this guy. I know I'm new here, but I'll try and figure it out. Oh, I did. That's great. It's the exact same thing. I wouldn't notice, except for they did them in back-to-back matches. Ooh, the Hearns Bee's Knees. It's even worse. It's even better. It's even better, the Hearns Bee's Knees.
It is. They are very similar programs. The other thing is, we were talking about it before. You and I know how talented Blair Davenport is because we saw her on NXT, but like the audience reaction is ice cold. Like they've got to figure it out with her for sure.
Yes. Well, putting her with some spooky Scottish witches. Oh wait, they used to be. That is going to like rocket her to the top.
Remains to be seen.
We'll see. We'll see.
They're so good. They're so good, but their booking is not supportive of such a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else you got in your sour fire? That's only one.
I know.
Unless you're counting Rampage, if you don't like the top flight.
Kind of, I guess. I mean, the thing about SmackDown tonight is it was like inoffensive. Like there wasn't anything bad on it. Like some of the stuff I wish it wasn't, kind of as obvious, or like, oh, cool. So Mi Chin gets to be the first victim of Nia Jax's reign. Like, cause we know what this is. I volunteer, I volunteer
as tribute.
At some point, Nia Jax has to have a first feud where she beats the first person she wrestles, and it'll be Mia Yim. So that's fine. It's just one of those things of like, it's just stuff that you do, and this is a good option as any, so fine. But nobody's like doing brand new fun stuff. It's just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and she already lost to Nia twice, so they've got to get her more wins to this.
Yeah,
feels like they're just stalling for the cash in for sure.
Yeah, like no, yes, Joseph. I came in hot with this. What is your occupation? Aside from being a professional wrestler, and we realized that because Darius has a legit pilot's license, he is allowed to dress as a pilot. The other two guys aren't.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's just the rule. That's the loophole. But other than that, so
that is fair. That is fair. I did not know he legitimately had a pilot's license.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
I also wondered if Tongaloa had an ophthalmology appointment. He's been wearing the eye patch. I don't know where he was tonight. Nobody mentioned that he was gone.
I feel like he's probably this isn't breaking news. Okay, I don't have a scoop here, but if you wear an eye patch, I think you're just in AEW now. I think that's how that works between Hangman and Danielson. RJ City did it as a rib. Rocky Romero. Like, if you have an eye patch, you wrestle in AEW. So I don't even know if that's a choice. Like, I think you just are. Mox had it for that brief period of time. Like, so that's the way the cookie crumbles. But
Yep. Hey, they told us that the good. Hey, good news. Alexis, you'll be happy about this. The Alba and Isla have already won their match on Monday, which is awesome because they have a triple threat tag team title match on Monday, and then they have a 6-woman tag match on Friday that doesn't make any sense if they're no longer the champions.
Right.
So, it's kind of cool that we already know what's going to happen in that big 6-woman three-way tag team title match on Monday. So am I sour about it? No, not. I mean, like it's like a grapefruit. Like that's how sour I am. I like it's just, there's a little stuff, you know.
You would think with all of that money and everything that's going on, you would have a legit continuity person letting you know, hey, that shouldn't go there.
Yeah,
Alex,
that's right.
It's hard to be sour about anything when we find out that Eddie Kingston is going to be on Collision. So
Yeah.
Is he really? I'm so happy.
Via Skype?
Nice.
Me too.
Like he says via Skype. Via Skype. No, what he needs to do.
Get out of here.
What he needs to do is he needs to do the Jacob Fatu. He's got to super kick a guy wearing a walking boot.
That was
I saw that. Yeah,
that was cold as hell. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's what he should do. He just super kick a guy wearing a walking boot because he broke everything in his leg. So that'll be fun.
The thing with Eddie is for a while he's been nowhere to be found. Okay, which is not
Yeah.
how you want to be, except that's how you want your internet connection to appear to
here we
people.
go.
Yeah.
If you want to be untraceable to the world
Yes.
like Eddie Kingston has been, partner,
Yeah.
NordVPN.
I have long talked with you guys about the content that you can access with NordVPN.com/Fightful, but it doesn't just stop at pro wrestling. You can get MMA and boxing pay-per-views at a much more affordable price when you change your virtual location with just one click using NordVPN.com/Fightful. It doesn't stop there either. Football games. Man, if you want to check out those out-of-market football games, you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You can get NordVPN.com/Fightful and just change your virtual location. How about baseball games? They make it harder than ever to actually watch baseball games. It is a task, not with NordVPN.com/Fightful. They got everything you need, in addition to all the threat protection and security that comes with NordVPN. But if you want that content, NordVPN.com/Fightful is right for you.
NordVPN.com. They made a huge investment in us, sincerely. We've been talking about it the past couple weeks. The amount you save with the code Fightful with them is like one of the highest value savings that exists, and definitely the highest that we ever offer. So if you need a VPN, legit. You save a ton of money, especially if you sign up for multiple years with NordVPN. So thank you so much, NordVPN, and invest in them if you are on the hunt for a VPN service.
A
But
great way to
Alex,
catch AEW on Max, by the way.
yeah, if you need to buy 2 pay-per-views almost back-to-back and you want it to be pretty affordable,
Yeah.
NordVPN is for you. I think if you do that, you literally pay for NordVPN for like the year. So the savings are truly incredible. But Mr. Pulaski, anything else before?
MXM has a new double team finisher. That's the greatest thing I've ever seen. But Dante kicked out of it, and it's one of those things that it's so good that it should never be kicked out of. It should be protected for the next 10 years. It is.
What is it?
It's so good. Mansoor has Dante up on his shoulders, like in, for a doomsday device position, but he just walks in the middle of the ring. And Mason reaches up and grabs him by the throat to do a choke slam, like off the top of his shoulders. But added to that, Mansoor herks him up after his shoulders, grabs him around the waist, so it is a choke slam German suplex combo with a bridge out of it. Bridging suplex out of it. It's one of the damnedest things I've ever seen. And they just had Dante kick out of it. If they had Darius break it up, I would have nothing to say about it.
No problem.
But that is the kind of move that no one should ever kick out. God, that was amazing.
Oh, that's so cool. I can't wait to see it. That's awesome.
Call it the tip toucher.
There you go. There you go.
I'm so happy those guys are off to such a well-received start. I love them so much.
So good. Oh, also Abaddon at the club.
Yes, I saw
Abaddon is at the club. Yeah.
There was a segment in there that you're gonna want to keep your eyes peeled for Abaddon, and she's always doing spooky stuff, but in an unnatural setting. So
I'm here for it.
in the club, actually outside the club,
outside the club in the VIP section for sure.
That's great. I guess that's it. Oh, hey, my daughter's is Little Miss Peanut now. For the local,
I don't share other people's
local
personal information, but
festival, like somehow my daughter has just won a pageant tonight in the middle of a driving rainstorm. Nice. She was covered in the amphitheater. The rest of us weren't. So all of my video of the moment has me holding an umbrella with everybody having umbrellas in front of me. So I got a tiny little sliver of the person going like, "The winner is," and then like, yeah, that was it. So she's very excited.
I love it.
I'm so excited for her.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Let's go.
My job as an influencer is already being threatened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
I just got heat with everybody's daughters. Bernie Danielson.
Yeah, that's true.
Your daughter.
Yeah. And so I'm going to teach her that I don't want, when she's in the parade, she gets to ride in a convertible in the parade on Sunday.
Very nice.
And I'm going to teach her none of this wave thing. Throw up the one. Throw up the one. Everybody's got to acknowledge you. Just throw up the one. I want to see ones in the crowd for my daughter in the convertible.
The whole parade is supposed to be 45 minutes, but her convertible entrance is like 20.
With the music playing too.
That's it. I can't follow that.
Everybody acknowledge Alex's daughter in the chat. Throw your ones up.
Throw up the ones.
That's what's up.
In the chat. I want to see ones in the chat.
We love it.
All right.
For Alex's kiddo. Well, thank you, Alex. We appreciate you stopping by with your sour four. Though a mixed bag today, we always appreciate it.
Be well, my friend. We shall touch tips later.
We shall get in those super chats. Get in those tip touching emojis.
Ma'am. Easy, killer. We're
in the chat.
Case just taking over the world right now.
I love this so much.
Hey, you know what I found? Premier Protein. I don't know if you like protein, drinking protein.
I do.
They're like these little protein shakes that you can drink. Pumpkin spice. Premier
PSL protein. My goodness. My
Yes.
goodness. Well, here's something else I know that you'll like, and that is a Legato video package, which I think was really good because we've been saying they kind of need a reset, and they showed them at dinner saying we kind of need a reset, which is good. I like when I don't always love when booking gets called out, but I like it when characters make sense of their own wins and losses.
Sure.
Right? That is just inherently well done creative. Santos always thrives in these. We saw a bunch of these in NXT too, just like these vignettes where they're at dinner with the family and he's kind of in mob boss mode. But I love when he says Escobar C. I love when he does the LA Knight cadence with his own name. So good. And then after that, we have LA Knight saying, well, that seemed like a fun dinner, which I love. He has that Kevin Owens thing where he just calls out wrestling tropes sometimes, and he did that very well here. And he says Santos Escobar might have not forgotten who he is, but he might forget where he is after taking a blunt force trauma from LA Knight. So I liked both sides of this. If they weren't going to come face to face because they don't need to yet, I love when Santos is in this environment and LA Knight doing what he does best in front of a live crowd. Feels like a win to me of not having them interact, but still having both of their presences felt on the show, Alex.
You know, we kind of lost a little bit of Escobar and Legado there for a while. And it felt like I was like, fudge, man. Like, what are they doing? Now, you got to build them strong. You got to build them strong. And we know why you got to build them strong, because ain't nobody taking that title away from LA Knight.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, like, that's the end game. But if we are building this faction and we're going to give them strength and a rebuild status and respect, this match has to be hard hitting.
Yeah.
He has to lose. And if he does lose, it has to come down to like him losing in the ring without needing his people around them to, like, whatever. That's the only way I feel that they're going to continue staying strong. It's like, cool, I messed up, I lost that match, that's on me, but we as a family, we're going to continue moving forward. I want that to be the story, because right now I'm invested in them. Not only because he has one of the greatest second podcasts in the world outside of Wrestling with Freddie, but he does, Lucha Libre Behind the Mask. But, like, it's cheap plug right there.
Plug it. It's awesome. It's awesome.
But yeah, like, he's just, it's so good to see him in the position that he is right now.
Agreed.
I'm sorry, I know that was long-winded, but it's
no, it's okay. And
it deserves the time.
It does, and it was important that they did this segment, because I think you and I both felt like this guy is it, and he's just lost in the shuffle. The fact that they are kind of saying, like, no, we're having a renewed focus on him, I think is good. A lot of people saying, Alexis, you know that pumpkin spice is a white girl's kryptonite.
Whoa, easy killers.
You want to know who's the biggest white girl on the stream? Hint, it ain't me, okay? Alex loves his PSL. He loves his Hallmark movies. He's just as big a white girl as any of us. Okay.
Yeah, I got my Uggs and my tights right there on the other side of the room.
So what's up?
I love feeling comfy. My oversized sweatshirt.
Just like cozy white girl style. I love it.
We are.
We'll say great to see Roxanne and Trick Williams at the show. I would be surprised if they weren't in the next round of call-ups, especially Roxanne. Roxanne.
Yeah.
Trick, they haven't done a great job booking him, but he continues to be extremely talented and very over. His title trajectory just was not very well booked. DNC Digital saying, happy Fightfulversary, Kate. Saludos, hermano. How's that? Not bad, right? Not bad. So it seems evident they're trying to keep Loa and Roman separated to build something bigger, huh? I think they're trying to keep Fatu and Roman separated to build something bigger.
Yeah, for sure.
Tonga Loa, not so much there, but we are going to talk about all of that very shortly. But before we talk about that awesome Bloodline segment, this Contenders match that went 3 segments between the Street Profits and DIY. We've been saying we want more importance put on this tag team division. Hopefully this is symptomatic of that, because this match showed out the Street Profits winning with that Doomsday blockbuster. Hell of a match here. I'm nervous that Alex Pulowski was right last week when he predicted a DIY breakup, because they have been losing. Yeah. So they've either got to get it together or they've got to go their separate ways. How they end up doing that creatively is up to them, but it does kind of feel like that's the case. I don't love that, because I feel like this tag team division needs them right now, but I would love to see, as funny as Pretty Deadly was in the segment, I would love to see them getting wins. I would love to see Street Profits getting wins. I would love to see tag team wrestling feel important for being tag team wrestling and not a prop in bigger or singles stories. That is the case with both tag titles on both programs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not do that. Let's make tag team wrestling important again. Louis saying this was a certified humper. Yeah, they had excellent chemistry. Styles make matchups kind of thing in this for sure. Montez Ford just unbelievable in what he can do. I'm glad to see that with Lashley out of the picture that they didn't just put these guys aside, because they are, 2 of the very, very best in the world. What did you think of this match here? I love that we got time for it to develop, and I'm glad about the result, even though DIY lost. Like, Street Profits need to get pushed forward here.
Yeah, Street Profits have kind of been, in that weird line that I was talking about, that we're on the undercurve, unfortunately, because they got lost with the Hurt Business 7.0, whatever was happening there. And then, they seem to be starting to get heated back up. Yeah. They were one of those tag teams that you can always count on to put on a great performance. They could be great champions again. Like, why wouldn't you? And then just have everyone chase them, right?
Yes.
Boy, oh boy, seeing the demise of DIY. Like it just,
it's all the same to me.
I too do it myself. It's just like, what are they doing? What are we gonna do this again? Is that the way we're going? Initial breakup, oh my god, it's about to happen. Someone's gonna turn on another. Like,
I mean,
it
we
feels
know
like they
that
just got
story.
back together.
We know that story from NXT. They haven't told it on the main roster.
I know,
So if
I know.
want to, I get it. It certainly felt that way with Wade Barrett on commentary, being like they lost in Johnny Gargano's hometown, etc., etc. But we will have to see. We will have to see what is to come of it. But that brings us to our main event segment. Last call for super chats and humper chats.
Last call.
Please leave a thumbs up on this video. A lot more of you watching now than were at the beginning of the show, which not only do we appreciate, but Sean was on at the beginning of the show, so now I can say that I'm the real draw because more people are watching now. But
Yeah. And by the way, I too am celebrating my 5th anniversary. Just kidding.
I'm gonna say it every week.
Mine passed. Mine was May 27th. I've been here for 2 years, and a couple months now. Holy crap! Yeah. So
isn't crazy? Time flies, baby.
Jeez,
Time
man.
flies. So, it's so crazy too because so much has happened in wrestling. So much has happened. We're going to talk about this go home segment, but we'll also remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. If you enjoy what we're doing tonight, there's even more of it behind the paywall than what's available just on this main channel. There's all sorts of bonus shows. Alex Pulowski and I do pay-per-view post shows for every AEW and WWE pay-per-view that we're not on the main channel for. So you get that. You also get the Fightful Select Discord if you want to hang out with other subscribers in a moderated environment. Super, super fun to be there. The Ask SRS channel also always poppin'.
Always.
You can ask Sean anything. He'll get you an answer or at least tell you that he's tried to ask about it. He is the very best at this, but I'll tell you who's the very best at being a babyface right now, and that is Roman Reigns. Holy crap. Solo Sikoa comes out. He's like acknowledged me, and the crowd's like, nah, we're not gonna do that. The crowd, this is the first time that I can remember we got like we want Roman chants and we got boos and stuff. This was the first time the crowd was actively like, no, like rejecting the notion of being the tribal chief because they knew Roman was gonna come out, which I absolutely love that crowd reaction. People have been hard on Solo Sikoa in this. He's getting the reactions he needs to. I know it feels like Jacob Fatu came in and is the big star, but if you look at the reaction Solo's getting, he's getting the right ones. But Roman comes out, they get into it. They, the Ulafala, I think is how that's said, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the centerpiece of this whole exchange, which I loved. Earlier in the night, we had Solo talking to Tama Tonga about it. They say that they still have it and that Roman's going to have to really fight to get it back. At one point, Tama Tonga is kind of like half wearing it, half not. But we, in this main event segment, have Roman coming back and grabbing that Ulafala. Jacob Fatu appears in a walking boot to take out Roman Reigns, and they eventually powerbomb him through the table. What a piece of business to go home on. I figured because we got the beatdown last week that Roman was going to cut a promo here, but just the symbolism of the Ulafala I thought was so well done. I do think he should talk. I think that should happen way sooner than later, probably as soon as next week. But I love that, like, there's not a title involved in this. This is for the throne to the family head of the table, right? Like this is the tribal chief title on the line, and it is all symbolized by that necklace, by that Ulafala. So I loved that he temporarily regained it just to lose it back, because one, it's foreshadowing that he's going to need some backup, probably in the form of The Rock, probably in the form of the Usos as we get to Survivor Series. But I also just love that, like, the idea that he could regain control of it and then have it slip away just feels like beautifully done storytelling and foreshadowing in this. I loved this segment. Roman should talk soon just to pop the live crowd and also say like what he needs to say from his time away, clarify his relationship with Cody Rhodes, like all of these things. But what they gave us tonight, I really, really, really liked. What were your thoughts on our go home segment here?
I think it was well played. I love the drama of it all, which is, as you can tell, the crowd is. I always say it. I've told, I'm not on Freddie's show, but as his producer, I'm in his ear, right? So and I'm writing scripts and putting together all these rundowns, and part of it is always saying, just listen to the pop. It's nuclear whenever he decides to show up, and especially now.
It's crazy.
It's insane how
It's
night and day.
crazy.
If there was one thing outside of all the nasty crap that VKM did, was he was always trying to put that man over. You know what I'm saying?
He did peg him as the future for better. Or
Yes,
for
he
worse.
did. Yes, he did.
It took Paul Heyman being the one to direct everything,
Yes.
but VKM definitely was like, that's our guy for better or for worse. Suffering succotash and thick. And
he was the man to
right?
dethrone what would be John Cena's person to kind of come in and do what he has to do, and boy is he showing it. And from top to bottom, him not saying anything, the symbolism between picking up the necklace, putting it on, the expression on his face of like, I finally got it. There's sometimes the art in doing something like that versus picking up a mic and be like, I am here, acknowledge me, I got my necklace back. It felt stronger with the visuals rather than with the words.
Yeah.
Eventually, yes, he will
his
talk.
Facial expressions are the best in wrestling.
He will definitely be talking. I believe that obviously before Bash at Berlin, he'll finally pick up the mic and kind of, no pun intended, acknowledge where he's been and what he's done, or what's been happening. But once we get that one-on-one with Roman, because that's what we're getting, there'll be 15,000 people in attendance, but it'll be a one-on-one because we're there with him. And we're going to feel every word that he's saying to us. And then, we know where this is going to be heading to. He'll get through Solo, and then we'll continue going through from there. But the spot on the table was cool. Them putting him in the ring and kind of standing over his lifeless corpse with their finger up in the air. And funny little thing is, after the show, Jey Uso came out. They had a dark match. He had the mic in his hand. He said, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's none of my business. Okay? He literally just picked up the mic. Man. He's like, nope. So that's pretty funny.
In the Wyatt 6 things, too, when he's been there for the hands-offs to those segments, when he's like, peace out. I'm out of here. Yep. I am not messing with these guys. His comedic timing is excellent. Excellent stuff. But some good developments on SmackDown tonight. A really strong go-home segment. I'm excited to see where this is heading. And to your point before, like, huge, insane, astronomical pops for Roman Reigns. It's so much better when people turn face organically, because then you get this. Like, it's so magical when you have that happen. But it's been a magical time with all of you here on this Friday night. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get out of here, Alex, where can the good people find you?
You beautiful souls can find me on the Instagram, Alexis Cardoza, on Threads, Alexis Cardoza. You can sometimes find me stirring up problems and troubles on Twitter at _Alexis Cardoza. I have hot takes. I put them out there, and people want to take my life from the things that I say. So
they're not even that hot takes. You're like, wrestling is neat, and people are like,
I'm like, I say stuff like, wow, there was a lot of people in that crowd, and then I'm shunned from everyone's ears and whatever. But thank you to all of you, obviously, and then follow me, because in the next week or so, I'm going to be dropping one of my newest projects that I've been working on. It's a fun little project that's going to start in the beginning of September and go all the way through Christmas Day. So can't wait to bring that to you guys.
Absolutely. We have one final super chat here. Luis, I know you said 2, but I actually caught that one earlier. I think the very first super chat I called up, but did not catch this one from Will that said, I think The Rock is the higher power of the bad bloodline. There are some fun conspiracy theories that I've seen. I think they might just play it up the middle, and then maybe in the Survivor Series match have The Rock turn on Roman. I think that could be a really, really, really fun way to go. But we'll see. There's a lot of possibilities, man. There's a lot of possibilities. My bigger thing right now is that I'm a little nervous about what Cody's title reign looks like, because it feels like there's not a bigger baby face on planet Earth than Roman Reigns. So how that coexists with your champion, they're going to have to do some work around. But we will see. We will see what is to come. But you can find me at Miss Kate Fabe on social media. Accidentally lighting up the internet today. To Alex's point about people being funny, I said, wrestling is in such an amazing place right now. AEW announces the stadium show in America. WWE is expanding to 2-night events because the demand is there for their major pay-per-views. Like, wrestling is hot right now, and someone was like, you don't understand business. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
This multi-billion-dollar industry is ice cold, I guess. Sure, whatever you want to believe, but
can we just be happy? Let us touch tips, damn it.
Let us just
Damn it.
touch tips. I love it so much. My God. But catch me on social media at Miss Kate Fabe. I'm on Threads now as well. It makes me so happy. It's such a normal environment. Should have listened to Alex months ago, but Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, as long as it's up, I'll be there. But catch me there, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is going to have some content on the way as well at Miss Kate Fabe. So thank you so much. We love you so much. Have a safe and wonderful wrestling weekend. We'll see you next week.